Hey everybody, welcome back to the NC State Insider Podcast. I'm your host and lead beat writer for NC State on SI, Tucker Sennett. Happy to be with you today. Game week 2 for NC State football. After that week 1 opening victory over East Carolina, big football weekend. It's been kind of a whirlwind. A lot of good stuff in the ACC that we'll talk about this week, both written and podcast content. Just a tremendous weekend for the conference, showing its strength, somewhat surprisingly to a lot of people. I mean, if you told me that the ACC would come away with 2 wins over top 10 opponents, obviously Miami also a top 10 opponent, but they did beat number 6 Notre Dame in that game last night. I would have been pretty surprised, but the conference acquitted itself very well. Virginia Tech was in that game for a lot of the afternoon in that game against South Carolina. That punt return really just killed them at the end of the game. But it was a very, very solid weekend for the conference, including NC State's week 2 opponent, Virginia. And I figured it would be helpful to just give you a look at two of their offensive players who played really well in that first game against Coastal Carolina. They throttled Coastal Carolina. It was just an absolute beatdown for Virginia in that game, winning 48-7. Just Tony Elliott slowly rebuilding that program. They've incrementally increased their win total over the past couple years, just sort of climbing that ladder slowly but surely, and hopefully, climbing the totem pole. But their quarterback, Chandler Morris, had a very solid day. He threw for 264 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did leave the game in the towards the end of the game. He took a hard hit. Probably should have slid. Tony Elliott said he's a little dinged up. I'll get that exact quote for you, but I believe it was a left shoulder injury. Uh, let's see. Here's the quote for you. Um, so it looks like his left shoulder, mild possible AC, will get reevaluated in the morning. So that was Saturday, and we haven't gotten an update since on that injury. I'm just gonna double check for you. But yeah, no update since. We probably won't hear much until today. Tony Elliott has his press conference, as does Dave Doran. Dave Doran's will be at 5 o'clock. But yeah, we won't know much about Morris. My guess is he'll play. He was walking around on the sideline after the game, but he was really solid. This is a guy who's been around college football for several years, spent some time with TCU. I believe he was the replacement for Max Duggan after they went to the national championship, ended up transferring out of there. Spent last year with North Texas. Um, Started his career at Oklahoma, but sort of found some stuff at North Texas last year at that group of five level, and Virginia took a swing on him, and it looked to pay off. To be fair, Coastal really, really struggled both on both sides of the ball, obviously, but particularly offensively, they struggled. MJ Morris, the old NC State character, is quarterbacking down there, and he had a rough day. They're not super pleased with his performance after sort of, you know, what they believed to be snatching him away from NC State after he left on not great terms. So that'll be something interesting to watch with them moving forward. And then wide receiver Cam Ross for Virginia had a really big day. He came over from UConn, so he will know and be familiar with Justin Jolie, which is an interesting dynamic. Always fun to see those guys kind of getting to be reacquainted and you know meeting each other again. So interesting stuff there. He finished with 7 receptions for 124 yards and a touchdown. Had a really solid day. Against a not super stellar defense, but given the struggles that the NC State secondary had against ECU, it's easy to be a cause for some concern unless NC State's able to clean some of that up ahead of the game. Virginia had a massive rebuild in the offseason, and we'll talk a little bit more about this throughout the week, but they have 50 new players on this roster, completely rebuilt. Um, the rebuilt rosters did better than I expected. I spent a lot of time and energy telling you why that strategy probably wouldn't work out for a lot of teams, and Florida State went out there and slapped me in the face with it, as did Miami last night. So they these rebuilt teams did really well. Obviously, some of them played FCS schools and lower level FBS schools. So those games, you can take what you want from. But these it was a win for full rebuilds in a lot of ways today, and it'll be interesting to see how Belichick and that team does given their brand new roster. But Virginia scored all six touchdowns in their game from transfers. So yeah, I mean that's sort of your intro to Virginia. We'll get a little bit more in depth over the course of the week when I have Daniel with me, kind of breaking down more of the X's and O's stuff that they do. He'll be able to do some of that as well as some more NC State breakdowns, see what they're going to try and change ahead of this matchup, maybe how they will try to stop this Virginia offense that had a really big day on Saturday. As always, thanks for tuning in. You can feel free to follow our social media channels. You can find me at Senate Tucker on X. I post a lot about NC State as well as other college sports stuff. You can also follow the website's X account at Wolfpack on SI for our stories. And then, of course, follow our Facebook for the same access as the X account. It's also just NC State Wolfpack on SI on Facebook. And then you can find any of these episodes along with all of our other college coverage on sports videos on SI on our YouTube page. We have a lot of great content, press conference videos, etc. You can find all of that right there. Hope you all had a wonderful Labor Day weekend, really enjoyed yourself and watched a lot of football. As always, thanks for tuning in.